Welcome to Quinnville. I am Marstanum, or Mars if you prefer, and recently I was fortunate enough to have Quinnville selected for City Planner Plays City Tips series. In that video, he gave me some fantastic tips for how I could improve my build. Today, I'm going to show you how I put some of those into practice. So let's get started. First off, we have some traffic signal fixes needed along Ella Parkway. That's here in Prospect Place. It's between Estuary Boulevard and Gulf Shore Drive over here. And just some simple, easy stuff that I forgot to do when I built the thing in the first place. So as you can see in TMPE, I've got traffic signals turned on all along this road, even on in connections to local roads, and that's not necessary at all. So I'm going to turn those off. We're going to make Ella Parkway a much quicker route without stoplights all along the way. And we're going to prioritize Ella Parkway by putting stop signs on the side streets wherever they occur. Oh, I don't need that one there, so I need to turn that light. Okay, it's on. Perfect. Perfect. So, that done, it is time to move on to the next one. And that is an upgrade of Gulf Shore Drive. Now, as City Planner Plays pointed out, I've got Silver Street, another collector that was originally a local road, but was upgraded because it was a route that a lot of vehicles were taking. Just needed to have a little bit more capacity here. All along here is Silver Street, and then it just ends on Gulf Shore Drive. But we've got a lot of land out here and an excellent opportunity to connect into this highway. That is possibly my favorite tip that he gave me the entire build. It's something that just did not occur to me. So we're going to upgrade Gulf Shore Drive in anticipation of making that connection into the freeway. To start with, let's go down and get our small collector road. We'll do an upgrade. I'm going to go a little bit before here just so I have some turn lanes preserved in this intersection. And I'm going to do that all the way down to about there. And I'm just going to nix this because I know I'm going to have to delete it when I bring this into the highway. I may even have to come back one more than that. Now, this is a really weird node going on, and I'm not sure what I can do to fix it. Tried some things without much success. Custom doesn't seem to want to work. Maybe if I put a little more offset into it, that would do the trick. That looks like that has exactly what it needed. So I'll give it a small offset, and then we'll fix it in this one. We're going to turn into middle one so that those crosswalks go away. Those are entirely unnecessary. Now, once we've done Gulf Shore Drive, I'm just going to touch it up with the intersection marking tool right here. I'm going to also add in a bike facility back where the old one was, just right alongside of Gulf Shore here. That will give us this higher capacity road without losing that protected bike lane that we've had the whole way. I'm also going to double check this junction. That looks about how I would like it to function. So, let's get that bike lane in place. Now, how we're going to do that is we're going to use the parallel tool in the network multi-tool, which is absolutely phenomenal. So we're going to come back to here. We're going to go all the way up to here. I'll bring it in manually. Looks like I need to click all along the way then, huh? Oh, I see what it was. It didn't like that I was trying to click through the intersection. I'm going to do that last stretch manually. Everything else I'm going to go ahead and do through here. What I needed to do first, though, was click on my bike path. So we'll do that, and then we'll try this again. I'll click on my bike path first, then I click on the road that I'm interested in having another road parallel to it. Much better. And that's going to give me a bike lane constructed right along Gulf Shore Drive with a fantastic view out into the bay. I hit enter, and that, boom, is in place. Now I'm going to bring this fence back a little bit. And then I'm going to use move it just to bring this a little bit more so that it connects up to our pedestrian path and to the bike path right here. And it's going to be perfectly placed right next to Gulf Shore, all the way down, just like we wanted. Except for that last little bit that I'm going to do manually. Turn everything off but angle. Actually, I'm even going to turn angle off at this point. Then I'm just going to slide that right up next to breakwater. And slide that in a little bit. Just so that we don't have any weird gaps in our concrete. There we go, perfect. And that will function just like the old road did. So now, we're going to build an exit from our highway and bring it down into Gulf Shore Drive. We've got some elevation things going on here. So instead of bringing the road, instead of sinking the highway like City Planner Plays did in his video, I'm actually going to bring it in under and just make a cut underneath the highway, turn a very small portion of that into a bridge. I'm going to also bring the railroad up a little bit and bridge underneath that. So let's get to it. First thing we are going to do is get our road out. We're going to get the highway. Let's just do it this way. We're going to force it elevated, and we're going to upgrade just this one small section right here on both sides. And I'm going to do the same thing, except with the railway network. I'm going to do that right here. So, that, do upgrade, force elevated, and there we go. Now, in the case of the rail, in order to get that high enough, we're going to use our slope tool. Actually, not our slope tool, I apologize. We're going to first use Move It, and we're going to shift these three here, and I'm going to set them to object height. Here we go. To object height for that node right there. And that's going to raise us up, and don't worry about it, it looks funky. We will fix that, I promise. First things first. This is not the segment that I wanted to upgrade. Let's fix this. I'm going to go Control Z because that works in Move It, which is so fantastic. And we're going to upgrade that back. I want to upgrade that piece instead, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to force these two back down, and we're going to elevate these instead. There we go, that lines up perfectly. Back to what I was saying with the rail. Just come in to Move It. Click on these nodes here. Set to object height. Now, it's going to be a little bit tight, so I think I need to go one more. And object height, and we're going to go to that node there. Now that should be plenty, and I can adjust that lower as once I have the road built underneath. On this end, however, we're going to terraform a little bit and dig a trench underneath the highway. So let's go into here. Do our level terrain, and I'm going to pick a spot right about here. We're going to trench underneath back to there. Let's get that spread out wide enough. Perfect. So we're going to take our road. I'm going to use the same one that I'm using down below. Continue that all the way up. And build straight from here on through. So I would rather have a node right about there for getting up. So we should be able to build straight through here. All the way down. This is perfect. Do that right at... Oops, I need to turn my angle back on. I'm going to use the curved road tool. Bring that up. Need to bring that right up into there. And then I'm going to do one minor change. I'm going to go with this two-lane no parking road just for that last segment, because there won't really be any need to have that many lanes once you get past this entry and exit. Now just build a couple of ramps up here. Same place on the other side. And I'm going to use just the regular road to cross it here. Build myself another node, so I know exactly where I'm coming in. Just bring it right up here. Even better, I'll use the curved road tool. We'll make that perfect connection. Even better. Same deal on this side. We're going to bring that out. I can get that about even, so I'm just going to come to here. I'm going to need anarchy to do what I want to do. Call it right there. Call that good. And then, again, just use my regular road to cut straight across. The highway likes to bend, the on-ramp likes to bend too much. I find this just works better for filling this in. Same idea, come out here, and then key right into that. Look exactly how far away some of this stuff is, so I'm going to clean it up with Move real quick. Oh, looks like I used my street instead of my on-ramp here. I can fix that, no problem. Around, so we have our directionality all set. Now, look, if you look, the grades are absolutely terrible in here, but we will fix that, I promise. What I'm going to do is use my network multi-tool again. And it goes right from the highway to the street. It's still a little bit steep, so I'm going to bring that road up higher underneath the highway. Take a look. I have not much room to work with, do I? I think I might just have to leave it as is. Well, actually, I can bring this one up a little bit because it will come up at an angle. Because I have that node in the center underneath. So we'll just do that. And that should be a little tiny bit better. And set the slope again. Okay. Not much better, but it will have to do because that's the space that I have got. Now, I need to get rid of my crossroads again. Perfect. So our next step, let's clean up a little bit around here. Just look a little bit better, a little more natural. I'm not a big cliff hater, like some folks, but I do understand and agree that the vanilla cliff texture is not the best, so I will smooth it over a little bit. Usually when you see this stuff, it's not quite that steep, or it would have a retaining wall or something in there. I'm not going to get that technical with this. I just wanted to get it in place and functioning, and that it will do. The other thing I'm going to do is run this slope tool all the way down here, and then we'll clean up the terrain a little bit more around there. Now I need to do some work with the rail clearly, so we'll take our grade tool here. Now here it actually dips before it gets to this bridge, so when I do this, it's going to even things out all the way along. Make for a beautiful, beautiful light grade. It does mean I have some work to do, especially with the power here. I'm going to pause it for a second. And then we're going to grade out all along this, just to make it a little easier to clean up after it. Same thing we did before, just clean that up. I'm going to fill this in a little bit, just because I don't think that's reasonable that they would leave that big old divot in the middle. Moving it out some. And now we can put our power lines back in place. Perfect. That going up the slope is perfectly fine. Take a look at that. That is very high, isn't it? Plus we need to finish cleaning up over here, but I am going to bring this road back down a touch, just because it's got an unnecessary amount of lift to it. So I'm going to come all the way back to here. Oops. I'm going to go down. That to me seems like a little bit more reasonable of a height on there. So we're going to take our slope tool again, do the same thing we did before. Fix that up. And same thing here, all the way to there. Fix that as well. Oh, that's even better. And now we need to do some more work with smoothing things out. Actually, let's take this height. Right there. Is it? Well, let's narrow that down. I want that height. Ah, I see what I'm doing. Wrong one. That height. And we're going to put everything else down to there. Again, spread that out a little bit here. I'm going to go ahead and do it on this side right now as well. And then we'll smooth everything out. I let that get a little bit too close there. One more time with the electrical here. Okay. Let's mix that. Put it back in place. And we're all set. And that should function just beautifully. Get a lot of the traffic off of the surface streets. Especially in this junction right here. Because everybody who was getting into town, who wanted to come over to this part of town, had to get off here, come to this junction, and then back around. That means you are going to have a lot of traffic. We need to give them another outlet, and this will serve this Quinn and Fort Shores area much, much better. Now that we've handled all this, I've got a little bit more work to do. I need to get my intersections marked up. That's something that I do very careful about. Let's clean that up with Node Controller first. These I want to increase the size a little bit and just make it easier for trucks to turn in there, since you're going to have a fair amount of freight traffic coming through. Set that to a 14 meter offset. I would do the same there, just to make it a little easier on the trucks. And get these two as well. Now let's start with this. I'll get everything marked up. I forgot to do something very important, and that is, I'm going to shrink this down, proper lane mathematics. Keep that elevated. Same thing on this side. Now I can go in and do my marking. One really cool thing about this intersection marking tool, I don't have to do this again 4 times. What I'm going to do instead, I'm going to copy this intersection's markings, and I can paste it right onto the others. I'll just have to rotate it a little bit, rotate it until it matches. Perfect. Let's click on that. Now for these, I have to invert it. So I paste it, I inverse order, and then boom, it's all set and ready to go. Same thing right here. Paste it, inverse, and then I just rotate it into place, and we're good to go. Now that's all handled. I'm going to do the same, whoops, do the same right here. Just make these clean and attractive. And we are good to go. So, let's move on to our next item. As you can see, we've got this flowing really nicely. There's some traffic coming down here. It's really made this place popular, just like it did when City Planner Plays ran this. But that's fine. I may have to put some more parking in, but that will be something for another time. Meanwhile, it's time to move on to our next item. Now, that was way over here in the west part of town on Diesel Drive, which is by the original train station. Yep, that was the first train station serving Quinnville. And with it, we have this Diesel Drive, which, if you look here up on Watershed Avenue, that connects up to the highway here. It comes all the way down through this roundabout. And as City Planner Plays pointed out, I've got the mistake of putting some things on here. This was a local road at one point, and I have since added stuff to it, and then I upgraded it into a collector. So there's a few things that I need to get off of here, but that will happen in a moment. Meanwhile, we're going to come down here and fix Diesel Drive, because what's happening is freight traffic is coming down Watershed and trying to get to Timberland. But instead of continuing down Watershed Avenue and making a right turn, they're coming down through Diesel Drive in large numbers, causing a lot of traffic. Doesn't look like it right now, but if you see it, it's definitely there. Oh yeah, you can see them coming from Timberland and turning up in that direction, because they do the same thing, reverse order as well. We are going to fix that by banning heavy traffic through that area. So we'll go into our traffic controls here, and we're just gonna... Oh, before I do that, I need to change this, because we're going to give this place a little bit of a road diet. We're going to bring this section here down to a 2+1 asymmetric. That's going to be just this bit right here. And then this last portion will just be our standard road. Because that much will be unnecessary once we kick all the freight traffic off and back onto these areas. So we go into our vehicle restrictions. I'm going to click here, shift, so it does it along this whole stretch. Ban heavy traffic, same deal right here. Ban heavy traffic on both sides of that. Diesel Drive is now going to be much lighter traveled. We're going to keep all that big traffic on Watershed and Timberland where it belongs. So next thing we're going to do is move that police headquarters off of here. As stated earlier, I'm just going to temporarily slide that down here over a little bit so that I can build a side street. Now, I know there's another facility I actually want to add in here too, but I'm going to just come in right off of this. That'll give me plenty of room. I'm going to turn off everything but angle, because I want to get that as close to that rail line as I can. We can move this over, no problem. We'll Cargo Lease Port. Give it a name. Now I'm also going to add on taxi service because this city has a ton of tourists. Taxis are always in demand. I have stands in place, but they're basically never used because the things just don't generate enough cabs to handle all the traffic, that, all the demand that there is for them. So adding a few more to the world will be of benefit. The other thing we really want to take off of here is this train cargo terminal. Now, I think it absolutely does need to be somewhere, but I agree that it's a very bad idea to have it on Watershed, adding more industrial traffic to this collector going right past a residential neighborhood. So instead of leaving it here, now usually I would just build a new one. I'm going to pause because this is going to screw with some things. Normally I would just build a new one, but unfortunately the game won't let you build one without a road to put it on. So I'm going to slide this over here, bring it around, and we're going to put that right next to this station instead, and then bring a road around behind here. And that will serve us much, much better. So I need to bring that in fairly tight. Now we can bring in the rail again. It's going to go back to here. Curved a little much for me, so let's straighten that out. And then same thing on this side, give it a little bit of running room, except I'm going to use this to keep it more parallel. And tie that in. That should be plenty good. Now, obviously I'm going to need a road. I'm just going to put this down as a placeholder. Let me grab my industry road here. Put guidelines back on. Nice and parallel. And close enough. Let me move that in a little bit. Perfect. Now, how are we going to get there? We are going to get there by fixing timberland on this side. First thing I'm going to do, take a regular road right about there, just to make a note here, because I want to upgrade this section. This is an unreasonable span. With how close the ground is here, you'd think they would have bermed it up and started the bridge a little bit closer. So I'm going to fix that while I am here. Let's do that right there. Give it a little bit of a cleanup treatment again. Do the same under here. Clean that up. Very, very good. Doesn't have to be perfect, but it looks much more reasonable to me. Oh, now it doesn't anymore. Let's get that fixed. Okay, now the bridge starts much later, which to me makes more sense. Now we got a node to fix. That's easy enough. Change that to a middle. Extend Timberland all the way. Ah, and see, we missed out. We did this wrong. I need to have that grass-lined road all the way out to there. Much better. Now what I'm going to do from Timberland is bring in an industrial road, and we're going to bring it in underneath the rail line here. So I'm going to grade out underneath. Hold this height. Hold it right through there. Bring in another industrial road, or bring in an industrial road, I should say. Right about there. And then we'll finish that with our curved road tool from here. But it's not going to give me a guideline, so we'll give it something more to work with. That's because I don't have road guidelines turned on. That would make that difference, wouldn't it? Perfect. Use our slope tool, our alignment tool. That is beautiful. Now, it's a little bit close here, but all we need to do is raise this up just a little bit, and we'll be in good shape. Actually, I could sink this some as well. Do that. Bring that up. Oops. Grabbed the wrong piece. That should handle it just fine. Now we'll be able to get traffic back in here to that train station. Everything should be functioning appropriately now. And I'm going to keep the rest of this space on handy because we have plans for all this. But for now, we're going to move on. Now, there's a few other things that I want to get done today. Most of that is stuff that I found on my own while I was working on this earlier. There are some issues with the traffic in here that were kind of unresolved. Either that or that clearing traffic up other places fixed. I forgot to remove this traffic light from here, so I will do that now. Stop and remove, and we'll just put a regular one in place. It's there. We are good to go. Perfect. Another thing that I want to do while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and bring Abram Street up and bring it in here, because the main reason that I really need this facility here is because this post sorting facility generates a ton of truck traffic, and I don't want that rampaging through my entire city. I want that going someplace really close by, keep it off the roads as much as possible. That comes direct from the station right into here, so let's give it a shortcut that keeps it off of Timberland. Don't see any need for parking, so we'll use our no parking road for that. Just slide it right in there. It fits like a glove. We'll have to fix the grade, of course, but that's easy enough. Beautiful. This is probably not necessary to have signalized. I'm going to go ahead and remove that for now. Set it up with stop signs on either side for prioritization. We'll see how that goes. I would imagine that would resolve these issues that are clearly starting because of what I just did. And bring Abram Street all the way up to here. Now I'm going to change the name on the other side of the road. We're just going to call this, for now, Station Street. Like I said, more to do here later, but let's move on. A few things that I noticed while I was test bedding in here, traffic-wise, that I just absolutely need to clean up, because they were causing problems for me unbidden. First one is down on Vista Street in Cathedral Square here. Here's Vista. And if you look now, it doesn't look too bad. But it absolutely has a potential to become a real mess. That's because this run road goes all the way through here, and it's a more direct route than our collector down here. We don't want that. We don't want traffic to be hanging out going through this neighborhood. So I'm going to ban, just like I did, I'm going to ban cargo traffic on Vista as well. And we'll do that in the same way. So take cargo, shift, ban, ban. And then I'm going to ban it right here too. I just don't want them coming through this way unless they have to. And they will still be able to deliver to places in here. It's just no through trucks. Next thing I have to do, let's turn that off so it doesn't pester us anymore. I have to extend this Vista and Willow collector couplet. So it needs to go all the way out to Dixon, which is right here. That will smooth things out. This bus station just generates a ton of traffic, and with the industrial traffic trying to make its way through here before this whole place became an absolute nightmare. So we're going to nip that in the bud this time rather than letting it grow and become an issue. And in order to do that, I'm going to extend this pairing all the way down to here, just to prevent other traffic from causing problems, trying to come back in this way and load up on here. We don't need that. We don't want it. It needs to be between these two local roads and their connection to the main collector down here. One more banning to do. That's up, that's, yeah, up here on Truog, which goes between Sunland and Sycamore. And if you'll notice, this is a shortcut because just that tiny little bit of distance, so we have all this traffic coming through here. Now, I don't mind if it's a few cars or whatever, just taking a little shortcut, but I absolutely can't have this freight traffic or all these mail trucks. Must be moving between postal facilities. I can't have them all coming through Truog Street and ignoring the junction that they're supposed to be taking up here, which is Sycamore. So again, we're going to ban heavy traffic, and this time I'm also going to ban city service traffic, but just at the very ends. So I'm going to do that and that, and if city services need to get in here, they will absolutely come through here. They just won't pass through here anymore on their way to someplace else. And that will resolve our issue of having the congestion here that we were seeing, or at least that I was seeing when I was messing around in here on my own earlier. And lastly, for Sycamore, I'm going to upgrade this to a 3-lane each way, just for this little stretch here, so that I have better turning lanes in place. There's a lot of left-hand turns, but there's also a fair amount of straight movement getting down here to serve this area. I don't necessarily like how this is all laid out. It was something that I really wanted to get this shoreline developed, and it was fairly steep. In order to do that, I have it tiered, and I have cut-throughs where I can, which makes for a really, really long block, and that puts a lot of pressure, a lot of traffic pressure here on this local road. So I'm going to relieve a little bit of that backing up onto this part of Sycamore by doing an upgrade. I continue the aesthetic of the avenue. I'm going to choose this no parking one, just upgrade that, and then we'll get rid of that extra node that we found. Right there, that's not necessary. Oh, let's fix our naming. Sycamore goes all the way through. Perfect. And then we're going to adjust this. Oops, wrong one. I don't want anybody turning from this lane. This is for going straight through to Sycamore. You want to turn left, you go here. You want to turn right, you go here. And we should be all set. Now let's double check our traffic here. See if we've made any progress. Not really. About the same thing that City Planner saw when he did his fixes. The thing with Quinnville, there's a lot of traffic here, but it all moves. Everything flows, but it just gets heavy in places, and that brings our numbers down. I think we will, over time, see an improvement as people get more used to the fact that there's some roads here that do things. I could probably also shave a little bit of this off by bringing this road up more gradually rather than hugging the coast, but that's not what Gulf Shore Drive, is about. In the future, perhaps I will add something a little bit more direct and downgrade this section. But for now, it is what it is, and that's what we have. But we're seeing there's definitely getting good utilization on here, though I do want to remove the junction controls here. I don't think those are warranted. We'll just have stop signs and call that good enough. So now we should be all set. Now, I do have much more that I want to get to, but I'm not going to do it today. I'm not going to do it in this video. I have some thoughts and plans, and we'll take care of all of that stuff at another time. Now, let's finish up with something that I like to do in the city, as find one of the cabs, here we go, and take a ride. Thank you all for joining me today, and hopefully I will see you again soon. Goodbye.